Hello, hello, and welcome to the MLS Corner. This is your host, Jorge Gonzalez. We have a very, very packed up lineup today. We've got some of the best people in the MLS industry with us tonight. On our first corner, we have Lee from CLTFC Fan TV. Lee, my man, how are you?
I'm good, you?
I'm great, great. On the next corner, we've got Caleb Adams. He has formerly known as Regal Soccer, now End to End. Caleb, my man, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for asking.
Awesome, awesome. And then we've got some very special guests. They virtually flew all the way from Austin. We have Hernan and we have Marcelo, the boys from We Are Austin TV and the Top Flight Podcast. Boys.
What up, man? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
All right.
How's the Texas doing today?
Man, Texas was really nice today. The weather was like 70s, Mellow. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, because we might have maybe gotten some rain in some parts. But overall, it was nice.
Yeah, it didn't rain as bad as it's been raining, which is great.
Okay, awesome. Love to hear that, man. Awesome. So we've got a packed show today. Want to start off first talking a little bit about giving us an MLS weekend recap. Great weekend so far this weekend. New England continued their fine form, and they beat Cincinnati 1-0. 10 men, New York City FC beat LAFC 2-1. Interesting game. I don't know what's up with LAFC. Nashville, staying low-key and staying undefeated. They came back and drew 2-2 with Atlanta. Honey Mukhtar double. I think he probably watched our show last week when we said he wasn't DP level. He was like, nah, fam, I'm going to show y'all.
Yeah.
Sporting KC registering a 3-2 win over Dynamo with a Messi-esque free kick from my boy Gianluca.
That was nasty.
Hey, that's a Carolina boy right there. Greensboro,
that G-Borough, man.
North Carolina represent.
Philadelphia with a 3-0 pounding over Portland. And then Austin with a hard-fought 0-0 in Seattle. Great game by the boys in Austin, man. Y'all had some great chances. Seattle with a disallowed goal, too. So it was a great weekend, man.
Shout out to VAR.
Shout out to you guys.
Man, it was a roller coaster of a match. We were all watching together as usual. So, you know, it kind of helps whenever you put out content. It helps that everybody's in one place, living the match. You know what I mean? And that Seattle match, man, I told them, I was like, this is the best scoreless draw since Mexico versus Brazil in the 2014 World Cup. Man, it was wild. It was wild. And honestly, I believe that we could have won. Stroud, if he could have finished that instead of putting it right to the chest of Seattle's keeper. And we got lucky with that VAR call, but I believe it was rightfully pulled back. What do you think, Melo?
It was the right decision. It was the right decision.
You
in
sure
my
he was
opinion.
offsides?
Yeah. He went for it. He went for it. I think we honestly we outplayed Seattle in some aspects of the entire match. So it was a great result in my opinion.
Yeah,
They did take the ball from us though. You know what I'm saying? They were the first team that took the ball away from Austin FC, and we're ranked third in the whole league and just
Ball
keeping the ball.
What, in possession? Who are top two?
The top two.
Atlanta, I know Atlanta number one. I know Atlanta's number one. Who's two?
Atlanta was number one. I didn't see who number two was because I was blinded that we were number three. I was like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think Austin has the same problem Atlanta does where you guys do great keeping possession, but it isn't proactive possession, just possession for possession? What do y'all think?
Oh man. I think it is proactive, but we're just missing that top striker that can actually make that difference. And we talk about it in the podcast, in our reaction videos. Is like we do everything right, but we can't finish. And I think we're just missing that top player.
Yeah. One thing I noticed between y'all and Atlanta, which you are like really heavy possession based teams, is you guys get the chances. Atlanta doesn't get any chances, period. They don't create anything. But you guys create the chances, but it seems like there's no one in that team that's clinical enough to consistently put them away. Like you said, a DP striker would be real clutch right now.
We'll touch a little bit on it as well here we go into a deep dive of Austin. So I'm excited to hear you guys' opinion over your current DPs. Also, what kind of striker. I want both you, Melo, and Hernan to kind of throw some ideal strikers that you guys would like for Austin FC. And so I also want to talk a little bit about Nashville, man, because they're just a low-key team that I feel like could be like maybe be a dark horse in the MLS this season. I mean, they're still undefeated.
Even after last season, they were, I don't know if you can call them a dark horse, can you?
They're not a dark horse anymore.
That's what I'm saying. They're on the radar.
They're a lighter shade horse.
Yeah, they're like a gray horse.
Yeah.
Gray horse.
They made us look bad, man. They took the ball away from us and just bullied us around, man. That was a tough game to watch, honestly, for us.
I always tell Jorge and everybody I talk to that Nashville is the Atletico Madrid of the MLS.
I like that.
They're just hard workers. They work as a unit. No one's selfish, and they just bully you. They just tire you out, and then they hit you on a counter, and then he does a goal, and then boom, what? Yeah. And they also have the mental, man. I think Nashville are one of the most mentally strong teams in the league. They've been down 2-0 4 times this season and have come back in every single one.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
There's also passion in that team because the guy that scored on us, Leal, he was pictured kissing the crest, and then somebody on like Twitter said that by the way that he was kissing that crest, it looked like he would have been from there. And what he clapped back and said was like, well, this club has put me in a spot where I can give to my family, and they have more than plenty, and for that I'm forever thankful. So these, this type of player, they have more than one of those players. Like they play for that crest. They might be a brand new team, but like you say, Caleb, they are Atleti.
I got a chance to go to their first game, and I mean, like the atmosphere is electric. I mean, the stadium was packed, and I mean, I love that. That's the stuff that you like to see. That's going to continue to grow the MLS. Same thing you guys are doing with Austin. Brand new franchises starting right off the bat, electric, and I mean, it helps that they're doing well as well. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
they're actually what a lot of people thought Miami would be. You know,
Miami.
Man.
Can we talk about their thrashing this weekend?
yeah. So
I love it. What a joke of a club.
That's so bad, man. That's so bad. And it sucks that Beckham is like there taking it because I love Becks. Everybody
Yeah.
loves Becks.
Oh yeah.
But it's just such a mess down there, man.
I
Such a mess.
had a conversation with Jorge and Lee, like just on WhatsApp, and I have this feeling that Miami kind of underestimated how difficult it is to have a winning franchise in MLS. I think they're like, we're Miami, like we have the fans, we got the money, we got the high profiles. They didn't really think it. Clearly, they didn't think it through. But I think they really underestimated how difficult it is to make a winning franchise, especially right off the bat.
yeah, I mean, it's tough too. That I've seen different interviews and read stuff that they've actually done to actually get a team in Miami. It's been very difficult, and they have such an opportunity in the MLS to be a global brand for us because everybody wants to come visit Miami. They want to experience that Miami vibe. I feel like they would be a great club to kind of endorse the MLS worldwide.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, they're not doing that. I mean, especially with this fiasco, they just got hit. I branded it the Inter Miami fiasco. I mean, they got kind of like us right now. We got 5 DPs online. They had 5 DPs. And so, I mean, there's so
from
great
their name down.
The problem I have is you had 5 DPs and you came in 10th.
And you still suck.
Yeah. How does that
still
work?
suck?
It's trash.
I don't understand how you cheat and then still lose and end up being one of the worst teams in the league.
You're right.
That's
It's
pathetic.
embarrassing.
They can't even get the name right, man. They can't even get the name right.
Then they get a suit for their name.
I was about to get to that. It's been fiasco after fiasco. It's the stadium. It's the name. It's the 5 DPs. It's the Pellegrini situation. It's bad.
Man, it's even the kits. They have
kids.
Inter Miami had a chance to make a globally recognized kit where, I mean, I'm telling you, people all over the world would have been interested in buying just a really sick Inter Miami fluorescent pink jersey right off the bat. And instead, where do they go? With some training kits, 2 training kits that I can buy at Walmart.
The training kits are better than the jersey.
Bro, that's the sad thing.
Better.
That's the sad part.
It's bad.
Yeah. On that topic of kind of kits and I guess merch or whatever, one thing that I didn't like about Austin FC, my club, I love the home jerseys. I love what they're doing with jerseys, but there's some merch that I've seen at the store that's just ugly, so ugly, and it's so expensive.
Dude,
there's some expensive items.
It's Fanatics. Don't blame the club for it. It's the Fanatics.
Probably so.
It's all Fanatics, man. They're the one. They come up with presets for everyone in the league, so we all have the same stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just in different colors.
Okay, because there's some stuff in there.
Fanatics.
And the quality is terrible, man.
It's so bad. Something that you're probably afraid to wash more than 2 times because it's gonna just fall apart.
Absolutely.
That's why
everything's
stuff, man, and call it a day.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah.
But poor Inter Miami, man. I don't know how long it's gonna take them to turn that situation around, but I would have thought with the players that they had that they would have been somewhere other than 11th place in the Eastern Conference right now, sitting with 8 points, bro.
Man, yeah, and the thing is, they have such a great fan base, such a great fan base, and the good thing is though they got the sporting director from Sounders. So they hired him this year.
Okay,
it's the same. Chris Henderson's his name. And he's the one who built the entire Seattle franchise from the Dempsey team to now this current team, this dynasty under Schmetzer. He's the one who built it. So they brought him in this year. And so this team has no sort of imprint from him. But they actually got a guy who has built one of the most, if not the most successful organization in the league, now building their team. And now he has the funds and money that Miami has. So it's going to be interesting to see how Henderson – in the next couple of years, how he kind of transforms everything around. But I think because of that hiring, we're going to see very deadly Miami in a few years from now.
At least 2, right? Because I mean, exactly. At least 2. It won't be any time. Because we'll win in the Eastern Conference next year. So.
Oh yeah, easy work.
Easy, man.
Nice. Speaking of, I wanted to pose a question for you guys. I mean, obviously, Miami was playing with 5 DPs while the rest of the MLS was playing with 3. But you guys think the MLS should be looking to increase DPs to go from maybe 3 to 5?
I think so, man. I mean, there's a lot of talk that this league is going to take over, this side of the world sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's 100% true. This league is on its way to becoming one of the most badass leagues because it's also one of the most stable ones. Yeah. And every year, this league gets better and better and better and better. And so I'm so excited to see what it's going to be like in 10 years from now, long term. And we do need to raise that DP from 3 to 5 to also attract better players to the league also from what's coming in now, because we're getting good players coming into the league, like great players, but especially it can always get better. It can always get better.
Yeah, always. I feel though with the salary cap though, that's always going to be like a point that kind of slows down the process, I guess.
That's the core issue. I'm 100% for increasing DPs from 3 to 5. However, with that said, if you don't increase the salary cap with that, there's going to be even more of an imbalance within roster depth. Because think about it now, when you have a team that has a DP attacking midfielder, there's a good chance that guy's getting paid like $5 million a year, $3 million a year. That backup for that attacking midfielder is a guy getting paid $200,000 a year. And the drop off in quality is massive. Mm-hmm. And it's that depth issue that is stopping MLS from winning the CONCACAF Champions League. Because Mexican teams are just deeper.
For me, I do think that adding more DPs is obviously going to be beneficial as you can pay more high profile players. But I think what's going to help MLS in the long term is the young DP rule. Because you're going to see more young, like South American players coming into the league. And like you said, Caleb, if that high profile DP gets hurt, you could potentially have that young DP kind of like step in and fill that void. Right. So for me, I think MLS really started looking really, really good in the past 2 years or so when that young DP rule was implemented, because you started seeing some young, really, really exciting, dynamic players coming into the league.
And keep in mind, one thing too is, while it's technically not a DP rule, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the new U22 initiative. You probably are. But basically, it's that you can now sign players under 22 years old without any acquisition cost limits. So what that means is you can pay any transfer fee, any sort of loan fee, doesn't matter. It won't hit against the cap, and it won't come out to them as a DP. So you can go down to Brazil, get a $10 million player, pay him $600,000 a year, which would be more than what he would earn in Brazil, and it still won't count as a DP. However, theoretically, if you time your 3 DPs in what the MLS community calls young money, the young money initiative.
The young money
rule. So young money. So if you time it correctly, you can basically create 6 DP quality players. So say you get 3 22-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And then by the time in 2 or 3 years, they'll be hitting that 26-year-old range, to where now you have guys that are more mature, used to the league. And theoretically, if you time it right, you could have yourself 6 quality, DP quality people playing for your squad. So, I mean, I think that's really, like you were saying, just bringing more youth, South American youth, all kinds of youth is really key. And they're doing it. They're in the right direction.
Yeah, I love that too, because, I mean, we're becoming more and more of I feel like the Belgiums, the Netherlands of the world, where like, okay, like young quality players are in this league. And like you're seeing it now with like players like DK that just go into a team like Barnsley and just ball out. And they're like, okay, like more and more attention coming to the MLS. And that's good for especially young players as well. Like the New York City FC new DP they just got from Brazil as well. I mean, like the league is becoming that, and I love that, because I mean we're gonna see a young, I don't know, like the young Luis Suarez's and Zlatan, and like right before they go into play for those big clubs, like they'll be here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. That's why MLS has been so it's the attraction in it has been increased, and as well from scouts throughout the world to sporting directors throughout the world, they're looking at every game now, because they're seeing Tyler Adams, Alphonso Davies, they're saying, hold up, these MLS guys, they can hang in Europe. And they're cheap. They're dirt cheap. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all eyes are on MLS right now. And we'll 100% be the league in the Americas. It's just time.
Well,
it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, yeah. You can feel it, right? So, going back to the young money stuff, Caleb.
Yeah.
to me, that sounds kind of like they're slowly trying to push away from, like you mentioned, you can have a total of 6. Maybe at some point, with the rules as they sort of lax and change, right, you'll get more 7, 8, 9 DP spots, right, at some point. It's just another step to not open it wide open, but to kind of graduate to it.
That's exactly correct.
You have old money, and anybody who's over 35.
It only counts towards the cap. Old money, man. No, but that's exactly right.
I don't have the money.
That's exactly right, Lee. I mean, that's what MLS does things. The MLS does things at a gradual, slow pace. They're never too hesitant to do stuff too quickly, except for the Beckham rule. Right. Or anything regarding Beckham.
It failed in Miami.
It's ironic that Beckham can't use the Beckham rule.
Well, he's abusing his own rule.
He's on his way to LA right now to discuss that.
I mean, who actually knows how involved Beckham actually is in the team building? I highly doubt. I'm sure he's a guy who just calls the players and says, "Hey, you should come," and that's it.
Apparently, he's going to be more involved this year. Apparently.
Oof. I hope not. for Miami's sake.
Matthew McConaughey 2.0 over there, bro. Matthew McConaughey, bro, that dude just comes and capitalizes right at the perfect time, bro. Like that one video, whenever he was doing the chants. Yeah. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey because he is putting us on the map and he has major clout. You know what I'm saying? Like in Hollywood and all that stuff.
He wants to run for president.
Yeah, well, yeah, dude.
There's a motive behind it. He's really a Charlotte fan.
Scary part is I think he might do it.
I think there's talk. No. Like I think there's talk of him being governor of Texas, bro.
Yeah. He is trying to run for governor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he might have a shot. That's kind of scary.
Are you guys going to do another side gig and do Governor Fan TV as well?
might do that. We might do that.
Nice, awesome. So moving on, why I wanted to have you guys on tonight is, since we're all from Charlotte as well, we have a new franchise coming in. You guys have Austin FC. I mean, I love the passion. Everything that you guys are doing over there is amazing. I mean, it's stuff that what you're doing over there is making waves all the way over here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's awesome, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I love what you guys are doing. And I want you to talk to us a little bit about Austin FC, man. You guys have started 7 games, 2 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses. Tell us a little bit about We Are Austin. We are the Fan TV, and also tell us a little bit about Austin so far.
So the Fan TV, the We're Austin TV, it was born in May a year ago. So we just celebrated 1 year when we, got together and formed this group. Thanks, man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, bro. And it's just a group of friends. We've known each other forever since we were in middle school. We've grown together. We've had the same humor. We know what is funny to one guy. One guy knows what's funny to the other guy. So we know exactly what to say. You know what I mean? And Melo, we met him this past year, and he's one of the coolest guys, honestly, on the whole team. Fucking love Melo. Melo does all the work behind the scenes. He gets the podcast going. Without him, dude, honestly, maybe there might not even be a podcast. So whenever we added Melo, it was like a breath of fresh air, and the content just blew up. So I want to give props to Melo.
Melo was like your DP?
Yeah, Melo was like our DP.
old money.
Old money, because Melo is the elder of the crew, but not by much. Don't think
it's okay. He's wise beyond his years.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just us, group of friends, trying to get content out there because we've all been fans of soccer since we were. I mean, I tell everybody I can't remember a time in my life where I wasn't concerned about a score, either between Chivas, Real Madrid. My dad was a Chivas fan since I can walk. That's some of my earliest memories. So that just stays with you. And once you pick a team, you better stick to it, or else your word kind of doesn't count.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So,
some of us pick 2 or 3 teams.
Hey, Jorge. Realize he said team, not team.
Jorge's got a whole bunch.
No, hey, you support Real and Chivas, right?
I support Chivas and I support Real Madrid. That's correct.
But different continents. That's understandable. He's a fan of Liverpool and Barcelona equally.
That's tough, bro. You can't do that. That's tough.
Jorge, it's not just us.
You can't do that, bro.
Hernan, I'm letting you slide with being a Madrid fan. So like you pushing your luck now.
Hey, man.
I have to deal with that on a daily basis, bro.
And you know what's funny? It's funny, Melo. Go ahead, tell him, bro.
I'm a Barcelona fan. So
oh man, all right. So next time we're just letting Melo in then.
That's all right.
I got you.
The rest of us will be on our show.
You know, and just the like whole chemistry between us in the like studio is just bounces off the wall because we have a Real Madrid fan, we have a Chelsea fan, an Arsenal fan, a Barca fan, and it's just constant, you know, just back and forth, just throwing shots at each other under the table. You know what I'm saying? Just talking constant mess back and forth, and it's just what we like to do. And now that we have a team in our city, we can get behind a team and just be true to that, and actually support something that's right in my backyard. You know, Q2 is built around a place where, I mean, I used to ride my bike there years, you know what I mean? So that whole area is like the back of my hand. So awesome. I'm just real happy to finally have something here in my city that I can support 100% and not have to save up hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars to go see Real Madrid overseas or go see a game in Chivas, you know, like go see Chivas versus America or something. You know, you always have to wait for those clubs to come for the ICC, but that doesn't even come around anymore because of COVID. You know, so you would have to wait for those games to come around, and sometimes those games aren't even good because they bring all the the younger players, and you don't get to see them at that competitive level. So the fact that we have Austin FC here and we get to go to the games and we get to see them against some of these top teams in the MLS is just something great. I love it.
Let me ask you a question. Two of them. Well, I think the first thing is really cool that you mentioned is that you all have different clubs that you passionately support in Europe, but this Austin unites all of you guys. You all can't get behind something together. You know, teams that hate each other, Real Madrid, Barcelona, like now you guys are best buds, but you know, behind something that's the same, which I think is really cool that it brings, because mostly here in the US, people have that European team they follow, you know? And so it unites everybody. I mean, and so my second question, the first wasn't a question, but my question is, were you guys avid MLS watchers before Austin had a team, or when you got your team, is that when you started following MLS?
Go first, Melo.
Well, I wasn't an avid MLS watcher, but I did follow the league closely. Ever since, you know, when I was younger, I did really like MLS. I used to watch, you know, when Beckham came over, you know, the Galaxy was like the biggest thing, and like I used to watch a lot of Galaxy games. I was really into the league. But as I grew, like I just went into the more European aspect, which was Barcelona. But I still always kept in touch with the league. And, you know, I had been hoping for an Austin team for years. And I actually participated. It's kind of funny. I participated in a really long market study. Back in 2015.
Yo, they did a study on you, bro?
Not on me.
What's wrong with you? They had him in a lab.
Bro, Melo, you did not tell me this. You did not tell me this, bro.
I participated in a super like detailed market study about Austin and the potential of having an Austin team in MLS. Dude, it took me 2 hours to complete the study, and I was so invested. I was like, I need to make sure, like, I need them to know that we're ready for a team here. So already back in 2015, I already was getting the sense that I felt it, that Austin was getting a team. So, you know, and like H said, it's just like, it just hits different, bro. Like when it's just a whole different level.
Yeah, when that team is local, when that team is your backyard or the city you grew up in, you have memories, you have your life, you have your family. Everything's involved in this team. Everything revolves around that team. You know, it's very different. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to have it in my backyard as well. You know, I'm ecstatic. I've been waiting forever too.
And going back to what you asked about the league, so growing up, of course, my very first team was Chivas. So I was Liga MX all day. That's what I was raised on. That's all we watched. You know, every Sunday, that's all we watched. It was like religious almost, dude. Like we sat down and we watched it. And sometimes if it was a big enough game, the weekend or the week depended on the result of that match. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You know, so whenever my first exposure to the MLS was whenever David Beckham came over.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I had, first heard of, wow, okay, this is the MLS. Like we got somebody from, like Beckham. And I knew Beckham because he was a big signing from my, one of my favorite teams in the world, and so I knew who he was and I knew where he was coming from. And I couldn't believe it. Like, wow, this guy is an LA Galaxy. Okay, like this is something new. But, since I didn't have a club in my city, it was just Dallas, and then Houston came a little bit later. I couldn't support a team like Dallas or Houston because my young soccer mind was only able to like pay attention to like Messi, Cristiano, Sergio Ramos, those big names. I wasn't worried about no Dallas Burn or Dallas FC Dallas, because I remember back when they were Dallas Burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been keeping up with the MLS for the past 2 years. I didn't have any friends that liked the league. All of my buddies were into, those leagues that I just mentioned. So I didn't have anybody putting me on the MLS, putting me on players that were coming to the MLS, putting me on anything of the MLS. So I was just getting content from all these other leagues. And then once Austin FC was, in the works, I was like, okay, well, I need to, start prepping and I need to get into this league. And I really, really enjoyed last season. Last season was dope. It was kind of crazy because I betted Columbus would win the final and I won money, but I got a lot of mess for it because I'm an Austin fan and I betted on Columbus, but hey, I won. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, y'all weren't even playing.
I knew they were gonna win, so why would I bet for the losing team?
And I hate Columbus.
I'm just really happy that Austin FC is here, and the MLS is now one of the most important things in my life, honestly. I pay attention to the leagues overseas, but you can ask Melo, you can ask Brian, everybody. Slowly, the MLS is starting to take over all of our lives. And I dig it. I like it. This league is getting better and better every year, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, man, that's dope.
Most of us, except I would exclude Caleb out of that, but like most of us. I'm saying like in terms of not like really focusing on the MLS till you have something to be invested in. Like what you guys need is a Caleb. I'm a Barca fan and Liverpool fan, so you follow these leagues, and like growing up in the Spanish culture, everyone's watching Liga MX, so you're like, okay, like, well, I guess I'll pull for some team there, But like just having a homegrown team, it just like you guys are right, it just hits different. It's just like what's gonna happen? Who are we signing? Okay, let's start watching other teams, see how they do compared to us, right?
Man, it's because it directly affects your life.
100%.
And while losing as a Real Madrid fan in the US, that it affects, you'll be down, but like it's like we keep saying, it hits different. That loss is a whole lot harder when it's your hometown team.
Yeah.
That win is that much brighter when it's your hometown team. Those transfer rumors are that much more exciting when it's your hometown team.
And when you're covering it.
And especially if you got content on it.
Whenever you get these messages like, yo, so-and-so might be, coming in, like, whoa, what the heck? So it is like, it does change, just like you said.
Just one question as well. Sorry, Jorge, I'm kind of taking over here, man. I'm sorry about this.
Man. The world, bro. We're just living in it.
Let me ask you, since there is a large Latino population, in Mexican one specifically, in Texas, I mean, Liga MX fans are some of the most diehard fans in the world, and I would say maybe the most diehard fans in the world, the most passionate. How has introducing MLS to the Mexican community been like for y'all?
It's tough, bro. It's really, really tough because I try to get all my buddies on the hype train of the MLS, and they're getting into Austin FC little by little, but just the club. They're not really worried about the league. You still have to tell them who they play. Why tying against Seattle was
Big
good. 0-0. There was that their first shutout of the whole season.
I think so.
I think it was
one more, right?
Oh,
maybe early on. I for some reason I feel like
I think you're right.
I think they had 2 shutouts all season.
I think you're right.
Maybe. But still, you have to still tell these guys, and also the whole city as a whole. I feel like the community that supports the league south of the border, they are accustomed to supporting big teams like Chivas, America, Pumas, teams that have history, teams that have a winning history, that have cups that they can back up if they say, oh well, your team sucked this season. Well, they always bring up the fact that Chivas has 12 cups, or they bring up the fact that America has 13. Whenever you talk about Austin FC, I feel like the community doesn't want to get behind a team that's new and kind of I guess quote unquote sucks in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? So what I think real quick is once Austin FC makes the first playoff, once they get that first playoff win, then it's gonna blow up. Then people are gonna really start to pick up and pick up all this fan base.
And I asked that because I feel like that'd be such a tough market to crack into. As for any in terms of soccer, anything, USL, MLS, anything. But especially just cracking into even people who are the most like patriotic or whatever. Even MLS is hard for them to kind of grasp.
It seems like Austin's kind of owning Texas though.
Already.
Dallas, you look at Houston and you're like, what's going on
already?
Dallas and OFC is Austin.
And
go ahead, Jorge.
No, go ahead, Mello.
I was gonna say real quick to Caleb's point. I think what hasn't helped the Mexican fan base here in Austin, in my opinion, is that we don't have a Mexican
I know
player.
There you go. Boom. There you go, bro.
I think the moment that you sign a Mexican player, you're gonna have those Mexican fans just like ride that bandwagon.
That's
a discussion here in Charlotte too.
I need to plug this in right here, right now that you brought that important point up. The fact that this Mexican market is untapped with the Mexicans' big signing. Claudio Reyna just spoke with Chris Bills, and it was like a tell-all article on because there was a lot of people criticizing them on why they didn't tap into that market from the first place, and we still have one DP signing left. And Claudio Reyna pretty much told Chris Bills, he said that what they're after is 2 high-profile signings this summer. They're going for one young DP signing, high profile, and then one DP signing, high profile. And then a source in Mexico told them that the young DP signing is a midfield profile player. And then the DP signing, they're looking for a striker. And then Anthony Precourt had recently met up with some fans at the airport when they were traveling to Nashville. And at the airport, Precourt told them that they had just missed out on a huge name DP from Mexico because he had just re-signed with his club. And so I did some digging, and it turns out Henry Martin from America, national team player, he had just re-signed a preliminary agreement with his club. And so that's who we all speculate. So if we missed out on him, I'm curious to see who we're gonna go after in the Mexican market this summer for those 2 high-profile signings that we're talking about.
I think that that kind of guarantees that they're trying to tap into that they're pretty much only want to get a Mexican is a must-have, is what it seems like.
And as a fan, also, as long as we see the board making moves, investing money, and trying to improve the team, that's all you can ask for. You know what I'm saying? That's all they can do from their part, because you have big teams, big clubs like Arsenal that has an owner that does not want to invest a single penny, and you know what I mean. And shit. Arsenal, hey, it's tough, bro. That's my team in England. That's my team in England, bro.
Oh man, cut him off.
Hey, Brian's not here.
Cut me off right now, bro. Nah, but I'm just happy. I'm just happy that Precourt and Co want to invest and want to tap into that market, like you said, Caleb, and just want to compete in this league.
Nice, awesome. Speaking of DPs, I want to touch a little bit on Pochettino and Cecilio Dominguez. I mean, Cecilio had a track record at America. Tomas Pochettino in Argentina. Kind of give us your thoughts on both of them. How they've been doing so far. What have you guys seen? Are they that DP level you're expecting, or kind of give us what you guys are seeing?
We have been disappointed, to be honest, with both of them. Cecilio, I'll start off with Cecilio. So when Cecilio was announced, I would say most people who had not seen Cecilio or heard about Cecilio were sold something else. The people who had seen Cecilio or heard about Cecilio, we knew that he was hot and cold, and he's kind of a mixed bag. He's very technical, and he's good, but he didn't leave Club America. Let's put it this way: that fans were not necessarily upset that he left. They were kind of like, take him, which is not a good sign. He went to Independiente and he was okay. So I wasn't too hyped about Cecilio to begin with. Pochettino, there was a little bit more hype about Pochettino because I think he's just a little less known than Cecilio.
And a Boca player.
Yeah, and
kind of though. He only played because he only played four minutes. Sorry, Metal, but keep going,
he's an academy, a Boca player. But we expected a lot more from Pochettino as well and Cecilio, and they have not been delivering. In my humble opinion, it's been a bust for me.
Is it because maybe a new team learning the other players around them?
Potentially. But I don't know, man. It's like everyone's in that same position. Well, Pochettino a little bit different because he's coming from a totally different league. But you have players like our number one pick from the MLS draft, Dani Pereira, who's 20 years old, man, and he's outperforming pretty much every single person in the midfield aside from Alex Ring. So, I'm like, yes, you're coming from a different league, but you're supposed to be better than a 20-year-old rookie,
For me, bro, how I see our DPs, I'll start with Cecilio Dominguez because I know a little bit more about him. I mean, who kind of doesn't know him? He was in a pretty big team, Mexico. You know what I'm saying? He was, I think he was was he their number 10 at some point? I think he wore number 10.
Number 10.
I think he wore number 10. So he was a guy that people knew. Whenever he was announced for Austin FC, I was hyped. I was happy with it because I knew who he was. I knew something of him. I knew that he won the league down there with him, so that's a plus. However, I knew what kind of came with him. And against Seattle, we saw what comes in the Cecilio Dominguez package. And I want to say shout out to Bali because Bali a couple weeks ago, he was like, yo, Cecilio Dominguez is the Neymar of Paraguay. And I mean, against Seattle, we saw that 100%. He is our top scorer right now, along with Diego Fagundes. They both are tied with 2 goals. I do think he is falling a little short, but I just think that him, along with Poch, they just didn't think that this league was going to be what it is. I think that it's whooping them right in the butt. And
estimated it.
And it's just different leagues, honestly. Yeah. We kept up with Ronnie Redes, Johan Romagna, and Cecilio while they were in Paraguay on loan. And what we saw down there was that was a real physical league. They were a lot slower. Cecilio Dominguez was able to do his plays where he went down that left wing, cut in, got contact in the box, penalty. That was his style down there in Paraguay. If I'm not mistaken, he finished with 6 goals down there. They got to the final and they lost in penalties. Cecilio Dominguez didn't shoot. It was tough to watch, but he wasn't so hot down there. So whenever he got here to this league, and right now that he has 2 goals, I mean, I'm not so surprised. I'm more surprised with Tomás Pochettino on how much of a low level he has. You know what I'm saying?
Because of the minutes, because he's not getting much playing time or hasn't had much playing time.
He was the one that had that problem against Colorado that he couldn't play because the MLS registration issues.
Yeah.
So I think that was the only game that he hasn't played. He's been playing for a while.
Is he still? Because
he's our DP from Argentina.
He's number 7, Lee. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, number 7. Number 7. He's blonde hair.
I can't remember him in the Seattle game if he started or not.
Yeah, he was. He was there. It was a midfield of Diego Fagundes, Tomás Pochettino, and Alex Ring. But Tomás Pochettino, I think maybe he's just a little bit more unfit for this league. This league is a little bit too fast for him. I think he needs to let go of the ball a little bit sooner than what he has. He does 2-3 touches, maybe does a little bit too much, and then he kind of loses the ball because two guys close him out, you know. And I think it's just a matter of adjusting to the league. I think that's what it is, because like how we've been saying this whole show, the MLS is changing every year. It gets more competitive. So all these big names DPs, whenever they come down here, they need to realize that this isn't just a walk in the park anymore. This isn't the Pirlo days where he could go to New York City FC and not defend a corner right at the front post right in front of the camera. And you know what I'm saying? That famous video where he's just there standing and the guy just scores and he doesn't do anything. Those days in the MLS are over, bro.
But
they
even
are done.
Even Pirlo came out and said MLS is one of the most physical and toughest leagues. He only plays Serie A, but he said it's an extremely difficult league to play in. He says you have to be so physically fit and you have to be prepared to work every game because it's so end to end. Can I just give you my personal assessment of the two DPs that y'all got?
Please, bro. Please tell us.
Well, Jorge and I have talked plenty about this, but I think we both feel the same way when it comes to Dominguez. I think he's really your prototypical streaky winger. There's moments where he just creates magic and you're like, this guy's the best player in the world. What's he doing in MLS? Send him to Madrid, send him to Barca. But then there's games where he just disappears.
Yeah, a lot.
And like you said, I mean, if you knew who he was as a Melo, right?
Yeah.
As Melo said, if you knew who he was, he wasn't gonna do anything in MLS either.
We were actually one of the few people, if I remember, like when Cecilio was announced, that honestly just was doubtful of the signing, and we got tons of flack on Twitter, man, because you can't say anything.
When do we not, bro?
Yeah, like you can't say anything.
Dawson FC fans are so easy to piss off.
Yeah, like if you say anything remotely,
every supporter's
yeah, it's crazy. So like we said it back then, and it's like honestly, Cecilio, for me, this is the first game aside from the 2 goals he scored in Colorado, which were decent goals. And don't get me wrong, he gave me one of the most
real
scrappy goals. But I will forever be grateful because that was one of the most amazing nights I've ever had in my life.
That night was insane, bro. Danny Pereira gave one of our homies his jersey.
Oh, I saw the video.
That was wild, bro.
It's wild, man. So aside from that, this game against Seattle, even though he didn't score, this is the only game where I've actually seen something, positive about Cecilio, which for me, we're in match day 8, 9. It's like, I need to see more, like this is not good enough.
But that also goes, Melo, because Wolf changed his formation because Houston was dropped. So that forced Cecilio to play like that false nine. He looked way more comfortable, and everybody was saying that he needs to play there. So what if it's a matter of him being a player that needs to be there and not? I mean, but his game is also good on the wing, like you said, Caleb. It's just tough. He's just a player that shows up when he wants to.
And let me say this: I think Pochettino's problem is correct me if I'm wrong, but Wolf plays pretty much a 4-4-3 with 2 pressing 8s and a holding midfielder, right? Or what's the job of those 2 midfielders?
I would say it's more of a 4-3-3 with Alex Ring just playing that deep midfielder,
6, right?
Yeah, and then
when he isn't bulldozing players for red cards.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, go ahead.
And then you have typically Danny Pereira or Toto Pochettino being that 8,
right?
2 8s.
Okay, right. So So you play basically like this, right? Here's Ring, and here's Pochettino and Pereira. So this is the problem that I see here in getting Pochettino. And what I mentioned before is that, first of all, the system doesn't allow for Pochettino to get on the ball the most. So when you're a DP player and a midfielder, you want to be you want to be the focus of the attack, correct? Like we look at every single team with an attacking midfielder, they play a 4-2-3-1 in the MLS for a reason. Because you want Zella Ryan on the ball as much as possible. You want Lodeiro on the ball as much as possible. You want Pozuelo on the ball as much as possible. That leads me to the second problem with Pochettino. Pochettino's player profile is not that of a natural 10. He is not a playmaker. He is a facilitator. He's a guy who's going to help go from the defense to the offense, but he's not going to be the guy playing that final ball or creating that chance for the team to win. He's an 8. He's an 8. He is not a natural 10. And that's the problem, in my opinion, is that I think the fans expect too much out of him because he's a DP, but the reality is he's doing what he needs to be doing. He's getting that ball into the offense, but he's not scoring goals and assists.
For me, it's like I totally see that, but for me, Diego Fagundes and Danny Pereira are just doing that much better.
Yeah, I agree.
They're facilitating the play like just much better. Pochettino just looks so slow, man. he needs to really step it up.
And also, Melo, what we've been hearing or what we've been talking about recently is that Austin FC plans to buy Pochettino down from that DP spot.
I was going to ask about that.
They're planning on buying him down. So that's gonna look great for us next season. Yeah, it's gonna be a great move because Houston has more guaranteed money than Poch. Yeah.
Really?
Danny Houston is bringing in $700K guaranteed, and then Pochettino, if I'm not mistaken, is at $645.
It's like
he's barely over.
Oh yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, I because when I saw Pochettino play, I'm like, man, like I can see where I can see the ability, but I'm like, this man does not deserve anything over $1 million, let alone DP slot. And I was like praying, I'm like, man, I really hope the front office of Austin can buy this man down, because if you can buy him down, that's fine.
Yeah, agreed.
It also helps that we have Claudio Reyna and Josh Wolf. Probably like Reyna is like the godfather of this league, and Josh Wolf is like the next Greg Berhalter that they're trying to trim up and get ready for the U.S. men's national team in the next 5 years. That's also one of I guess we can get into that later. But Josh Wolf, man, he gets a lot of passes. But also this is his first job, so cool, Josh Wolf, cool.
So that brings me up to my next question. Then, you guys are 7 games in. This is Wolf's actually first actual team. He's not an assistant. He's been an assistant at the men's national team, also at DC. Like, what would you guys rate him 1 to 10? How would you rate Josh Wolf right now in terms of a manager from what you've seen?
I feel like H and I are gonna it's good that we are in this call together, because we're gonna bring 2 different kind of opinions here.
I think so too. Go first, Melo. Go ahead, bro.
For me, I've seen great things from Wolf. I'll break it down in a concise way. In terms of tactics, I am a big fan of the flair, the attack. The wide fullbacks, the dynamic wingers. Like the midfielders launch into the attack. It's very exciting to watch, and as a fan, I love it. He's also shown already in a few games his willingness to switch things up, which cannot go understated. And I think that's really, really important, is for a young manager to understand. Yeah, for any manager, really, to understand and realize where he might have messed up. So I'm already seeing positive signs from there. And then the third point that I want to call out is, in my opinion, I've seen Wolf send messages to the players, and like we call this out in one of the pods. In the game against, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Minnesota. He essentially benched our young DP, which is Rodney Redes. We haven't even talked about Rodney Redes, and that's a problem too. He benched him for Jarrett Stroud, and he sent like a huge message, because instead of making that substitution, Redes for Stroud, which was the natural way to do it, he substituted Cecilio out and put Redes in on that left wing. So he took Cecilio, who was our DP, put in our young DP for him, and left Jarrett Stroud on the right hand side, which he had a phenomenal game. And to me, that was Josh Wolf kind of indicating to the players, like, yo, you have to play like Jarrett. Exactly. I don't care who you are, but Jarrett Stroud gave a massive performance, and I'm going to make it very clear that he did really good. And to me, that's what I love to see. Somebody who has that personality. So I would say, for him to be his first season, 7 games in, I would say like a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for Wolf.
That's not bad, bro. That's not bad. I think that's pretty fair. The most recent episode of the Top Play podcast is going to come out. It has a very crazy rant that I had on Josh Wolf, and I honestly feel kind of bad on kind of how far I went, but I would like to say that I like the work Josh Wolf is doing. I've been really thinking about this kind of all day. It's been stuck on my mind, and I just want to say that Josh Wolf is doing a good job. I think he is doing a good job, but there's some things that he does need to tweak. I'm gonna just say this is one of my pet peeves. I don't like that the players call him Josh. I feel like players should call him Coach, Mister, something other than by first name basis, bro. I know that it establishes a friendship there, but call him Coach, bro. I've never, ever since I was a kid, I've never called my coach by his first name. My coach's name was Steven.
Hey,
I never said Steve. What's up?
I got another guy who does that, and I'll tell you, another guy who does that is Greg, and also Bob Bradley at LAFC.
Why do they do that, bro? Why do they do that?
I think it's an American thing.
It's the same thing as when they're interviewing the coach while they're playing. Like, who does that, right?
Yes, that's so annoying.
Only in America.
Yeah,
and also there was another part in the Seattle Sounders match recently where there was a cut scene where the camera went to Alex Ring and Josh Wolf talking on the sideline, and I couldn't tell who the coach was because Wolf was giving directions to Ring while Ring was giving directions to Wolf, and I didn't know who was the dominant force in that, you know. And I'm worried that in the long run, maybe a rookie coach could lose the locker room to some players like Cecilio Dominguez, Rodney Redes, who is acting brand new since he got to the MLS. I don't even know who he is no more. Rocking all that Louis. You know what I'm saying? and you know, but overall, I'd like to say that Josh Wolf just needs to tweak those small things for me as my personal fan thought, I guess. He needs to talk better to the media. He sends a lot of mixed signals. He's like the worst person talking to the media for me. I guess he hides his answers well, and that's good for the club and good for him. But I think little by little he's gonna you know, I guess get better speaking to the media. Like we said, he's getting groomed to be the next big thing here in this country for coaches. And I guess when it comes down to it, I'm happy we got a Josh Wolf as a coach here because he's gonna get a lot of slack, you know. And I guess it's better than having a high profile coach and him failing 1 year or 2 years down the line and then getting a new coach and getting a new coach. I know that they brought Josh Wolf here to build him up. So I guess.
What number would you give him, bro?
6.5. 6.5. That way, if he's watching this, which he might be because they keep an eye on We're Austin TV. Low key, maybe. But that way, if he's watching this, he knows that he needs to get better always. You never want to give him too much of a high score because then they get cocky.
So if you get to interview him, you're going to call him Josh or Mr. Wolf?
I'm going to call him. I always call him Wolf. I always call him Wolf. I've never called him. One time, I did call him Joshy.
Right. Joshy, if you're out there, man,
I did call him Joshy.
TV boys and give him an interview.
Yeah, maybe, but he's like one of the hottest commodities right now in Austin.
For sure. Hey, let me say, I think one thing that you guys at least got to be grateful for, unlike a lot of clubs in MLS, you have a coach who has a pretty clear direction and identity to start out with. You know, it's pretty clear what he wants to do, just a matter of improving or not. And like you said, just the little things, building up on those little things. But like we saw with Diego Alonso with Miami, he changed it up every single game. I had no idea what they were trying to do. I had no idea what his system was. I had no idea what his long-term vision is. At least with Wolf, you look organized. It looks like the team and the players have clear instructions.
Yeah. He knows what you're going to do, right? He just the players just not showing up.
Yeah.
My thing with Wolf, and that's something to be concerned about, is what we were kind of talking about before the show, Jorge, is playing against teams like Nashville, who are not going to try and take the ball away from you, who are going to just be happy to sit back, have blocks of 4-4 or maybe like a 4-4-1, and just kind of like sit and wait to counterattack and destroy you. Having those alternatives to play against teams like that, for me, I think Wolf needs to train, but hopefully with time he'll kind of like develop.
Still a young squad, right? I mean,
really young
overall, right?
Yeah.
So,
there was this part in that Nashville match, the last minute, we were down 1-0. We had the ball. I think we could have scored. Man, Twitter destroyed Josh Wolf. They went after him. I also chimed in the conversation, but whenever the camera cut to him and he was like and he took off his keychain, whatever thing he had, and he closed his like notebook or whatever clipboard he had, and he just started packing up his things. man, some people got pissed seeing that. And then, some people came out and they're like, hey, it's not all about being animated on the sidelines. But then some people were saying that if this would have been like a team in, Mexico, the coach would have been chewed up and spit out by every media outlet.
I mean, look at old Alex Ferguson, right? On the side, he was calm and everything, but you hear those stories when he's in the locker room, right? He would just go for good old racking, right? So maybe he's that sort of manager,
One of my favorite calm coach moments is recently when Everton beat Liverpool.
Yes.
And their coach, Carlo Ancelotti, was just drinking his little coffee, just just blowing it.
That was beautiful, man.
That was crazy, but that's also a guy that's lived some crazy moments in football history.
Yeah,
so he must be like, Everton beating Liverpool.
You can tell there's levels, bro. Even like him leaving Everton to go back to Real, like that's the type of coach Ancelotti is. Yeah.
And let me ask you all about. I know I get to wrap it up here, but let me ask you about one player that I personally it's been my personal favorite player at Austin thus far, and it's Romana. I've really enjoyed seeing Romana, and I think he is one of the most underrated signings in the offseason in all of MLS.
That's our boy.
Oh, that's it right there.
Signed my shirt.
That's sick, man.
Shirt.
I think Romana is madly underrated.
Yeah. Bro, this dude is one of the most humblest human beings you could ever meet. Whenever you meet him, and I've got the chance to meet him once, I honestly felt like he wasn't even a soccer player, bro. I felt like he was just a guy just on the street, like just random guy.
A really buff, shredded guy.
Yeah, extremely. Extremely. Dude is huge, massive.
A human bull.
He's so big, dude.
To the people that he's talked to, he genuinely feels like Austin FC was a gift from God, because if you followed him, and we did follow him before he signed for Austin FC, we were following him about 3 months before the announcement dropped, and he was playing so good that one day I told Brian and the guys, I was like, yo, I'm gonna do a quick edit on this guy, Johan Romana, because he's pretty good. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, he messages me back and he's a pretty cool guy. So I messaged him, I got a quote from him, and I made an edit about him. And then like literally maybe a month or two later, something around there, Austin FC signs Johan Romana out of nowhere. No rumors, no nothing. Just boom, Johan Romana. There wasn't even like a number disclosed that came out. We had no information on him. And so Johan, if you ever get to talk to him, if anybody ever gets to have like an honest conversation with him, he'll tell you like he feels like this is a gift from God, bro, that landed on his plate, and he treats this like that. Like he's told me how he lives and dies for these colors, and he just got here, bro. Like
he's not been to Charlotte yet.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably
follow
so.
him on Instagram.
Follow him on Instagram. He's always dropping these like inspirational quotes, and whenever you first follow him, you might think like, oh, this might be cap, like this like fake woke stuff. But no, man, Johan Romana, he's just an incredible human being, and he's a unit of a player, and I'm really excited to see him grow. Really excited to see him grow, and he's only 22.
Man, and the thing is, center backs have a later prime, So what he's doing at 22 is really impressive. And like one thing I really I've been like really, really thoroughly impressed. Whenever I watch Austin, I watch Austin to watch Romana. Like Dominguez and Pochettino, whatever, bro. I want to watch Romana.
Exactly.
He's an absolute monster, and I don't think he's going to be in MLS much longer. And like I think he reminds me. I mean, you guys know him, but I don't know him. But when I see him on the pitch, he reminds me of like a Conte. He just shuts up and does the work. He just shows up, does the work. That's
Destroyer.
It. No Louis. There's no Gucci up in there. Just show up and do the work.
Just straight up Adidas, Austin FC apparel. Straight up, bro. straight merch gear, bro. But
what the club provided to him. That's it.
Melo, he doesn't spend a penny on clothes.
Dude, he has like a whole family to like worry about back where he's from. So he's like out here treating this like just like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. And I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that, because you have two different types of mindsets. And I don't want to hate on Rodney, because I don't want to bring down a player from my own club, but there's two different mindsets going on right now. You have one player that's coming from the same league, and he's, out here, buying this, buying that, seeing the city, and great, bro, do that, because that's something that I would do if I was a soccer player too. But then you have this other type of mindset. That you have Johan just focus, work, and he's still building himself here, because he's posting these pictures of him shredded, and he looks bigger than what he was whenever we were seeing him back where he was at Paraguay. So he's still working and building, and not only do you see it off the pitch, you see it on the pitch, because this dude throws himself in front of every ball, not giving no Fs.
Hey, how long is that injury, by the way? What do you know about the injury?
So from what I knew, from what my sources were telling me from within the club that I knew, they told me that Danny Pereira was going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks, which we told, we kind of put it out there, but then it got a mainstream pickup maybe like 2-3 days later, right, Melo? Por ahí? Yeah. And then that same source had told me that Johan Romaña would be fine. So we thought he might play, but there's no reason to rush him. And I'm happy that they didn't rush him, because Cascante and Beastler dropped a world-class match. They couldn't have played any better against Seattle, honestly.
I think that partnership with Beasler, I mean, he was brilliant. Both of them were brilliant against Seattle, but I think that partnership with Beasler and Romana really, they complement each other. Even how old Beasler is, Beasler's a guy who just kind of sits back. It's more of a sweeper type role, while Romana is more of a stopper. He's the one who puts on the pressure. And then Matt Beasler he's a smart defender. He doesn't need his pace. He knows where to be at the right time. And it's like a really nice partnership. Yeah. And they complement each other perfectly. I've really been enjoying them this season.
Last question for you boys, then, just to get things moving along here. I know we could go all night.
For real, bro.
Really could.
For real.
Really
That's the problem we have too, bro.
It is a problem.
What is a successful season for Austin FC this year?
Melo, I'm gonna let you go first, bro.
Playoffs. That would be success.
Yep.
Nashville did it. There's no even Inter Miami did it.
I don't count that.
That don't count though.
I don't count.
I like that, Lee. I like that.
They still did it, and I feel like if we don't, come on, man. Like,
especially if we show up next year and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So
put a little bet on that, man.
Is that the new norm? Is that the new norm for brand new teams to make it to the playoffs because Nashville set that bar?
I hope.
Man, no, it's Atlanta's really screwed it for every expansion.
That's true.
Yeah.
Atlanta's the one that came out and it was like, what is this, man? We've never seen an expansion team like this.
Well, let's not give them too much props.
And they also had that guy playing there, Almiron, and now he's just
he's a beast, man.
He's like Bitcoin, just shoo. He just went out there, man.
Here's the thing with Austin, man. If we play the way that we played against Seattle, there's no way we don't make the playoffs, dude. There's no way we don't make the playoffs. And I want to see that every single week. I know it's tough. I know it's difficult. We've been playing 7 games on the road. There's going to be 8. I know it's hard. The boys have done, I think, fairly well. So now that we're going to play home, I better start seeing some 3 points at home and start climbing up the table.
I heard somewhere that there's a saying in this league that if you get a point from each of your road games, then you're in good shape or something like that. How does that saying go? Do y'all know that?
It's pretty much like, I don't know if it's a saying, but it's pretty much if you can get points on the road,
it's always good.
You're gonna be good.
If you get a point on the road, every single one, that's 17 points you get.
It's not bad.
But then you have to score it up at home, though, right?
But you have to show up at home.
Assuming that you show up at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. So playoff is the standard of success for Austin FC. I like that, man. And you guys made a good point too. I mean, all your games have been away. So like getting 2 wins and a draw, like, okay, like that's not bad. Out of 7 games, that's 7 points right there. Right?
Shutting Seattle out at home. That's
difficult.
That's massive.
I was worried there the first 20 minutes, though. I thought they were going to really take it to you. Something happened, and you guys kind of got a hold of the game and took it to them, too. So, kudos to that.
Nice.
And also
that halftime talk.
That halftime talk must have been hefty because we played a hell of a second half.
It was way different. It was way different second half.
Just calm down, boys. We got this. Yes, sir.
I also think that our fan base kind of expects playoffs, bro, because we have such a dedicated fan base right now. Like people are showing up, bro. Like it's crazy. So
it's kind of split though, H. Because like there's fans that we have that are like, hey man, we have a team, so
it's literally just a game, bro.
Okay.
That's lucky me, bro.
There's a lot of peeps.
But I'm like, we have to perform, mate.
We gotta win it all, right? Win it all.
I was talking to somebody about that today, just over that topic, and I was like, man, maybe I'm just spoiled. Maybe I'm just spoiled because of Real Madrid winning all these titles, and you know, Chivas being whoever they are, and maybe I'm just spoiled. Maybe I'm just spoiled, but
Jorge, man, Barcelona and Liverpool.
Well, Lee's a Spurs fan, so he's used to no trophies.
He's bitter. He's bitter all the time.
Oh man, that's because you guys wind me up all day long, man. That's all I get is damn these Spurs memes. It's like, really? You know, that's here, you bastard.
It's all right, man. It's okay.
That's right. We finished above Arsenal for like the last 5 years in a row, so we're good.
Hey man, chill, bro.
Sorry, I had to.
Chill.
Deflecting.
The thing is, though, I can't even say nothing. I mean, like, literally, what can I say as from an Arsenal point of view? What can I say? Well, we got Saka, and he got called up to England. Is that a trophy now? You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, but we can always cheer about the Audi Cup.
Yeah, there you go. Audi Cups, ICC Cups.
That's right. Don't fuck.
Maybe one day, Caribou's. Caribou Cups.
That's it.
Oh, weak.
And then Melo,
man,
where we find you guys at, man?
So I mean, I run the We're Austin TV on Twitter. That's what I'm always on. I don't have a personal Twitter. I got a personal Instagram. But you know, I'm pretty much always on the We're Austin TV on Instagram and Twitter, so you can check us out there. My boy Brian runs the Top Flight page on Twitter and Instagram. And Melo, where can they find you?
You can find me at Marcelo_WAATV, We're Austin TV. And then I also help, produce the Top Flight podcast, which you guys can follow. We drove some fire videos. Honestly, it's so much fun recording that podcast. In my humble opinion, we got the best Austin FC content out there. So I'll make sure you guys check us out.
100%,
bro.
And also, one thing touching on that, Melo, is we're also like tuning stuff up every week. Like every week we find something new to fix, and we try to fix it. And since we're all buddies, we can all tell each other like, bro, you were slacking last week. Pick it up this week. Bring up the energy, and nobody gets mad. Nobody gets butthurt because we're all buddies. So I'm really excited to see what We're Austin TV can grow to be, and I'm also excited to grow as pages between all of us, because if we all help each other, there's no reason why we all can't grow together.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
You know what I'm saying? So
I was telling Melo, man, when they do an MLS All-Star game, we need to get everybody together wherever that's at, dude.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, right?
I mean,
dude, I'd be down. I'd be down. We can do that. We can honestly do that, bro.
That'd be fire.
And whenever that happens, you can count We're Austin TV in. If all of us can't make it, we're gonna send one or two people out there, but we'll be there 100%, bro.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I mean, everybody on, from Lee to Caleb, the boy Austin, man. Love what you guys are doing, man. And this concludes the episode of the MLS Corner.
Peace.
Appreciate it, bro.